Hey, good morning everybody. So this is the Ride 1UP Roadster V3. It's got the telltale signs of being an urban commuter. It's got flat handlebars, got fenders, it's got a rear attachment for racks so you can carry your bags. But it's also got a Shimano Dior 1x10 group set with a clutched rear derailleur. It's got a chainstay protector on the drive side, and it's got Schwalbe G1 RS gravel tires in 700C by 45mm. Basically, this bike's got somewhat of an identity crisis. It's an urban commuter, but it's kind of begging to be taken off-road, so that's what we're going to do today. Oh my god. So for starters, this is an e-commuter bike. It's powered by a 500-watt hub motor in the rear. So it's not like a super high-end mid-drive Bosch-equipped bike, but unlike other budget e-bikes on the market, the Roadster V3 features a torque sensor-based power delivery unit. So what that means is on the cheaper e-bikes, the power delivery is based on your cadence. So if you pedal faster, you get more power. If you pedal slower, you get less power. Now those types of systems generally suffer from jerky, kind of non-intuitive drive. So it actually takes a lot of getting used to ride bikes with a cadence-based power delivery system. Now with a torque-based system like the Roadster V3, it doesn't matter how fast you're pedaling, it's based on how hard you're pushing on the pedals. And that just offers a much more intuitive ride experience. Now right now I'm in eco mode. I'm not all the way in the granny gear either, and I'm just kind of cruising up this mellow climb right here. But it doesn't feel like I'm getting help from an electric motor, which sounds weird. For example, if I stop pedaling all of a sudden, the power kind of just ramps down smoothly. And then when I start pedaling again, the power just kind of smoothly ramps up. So it doesn't feel like the motor just suddenly kicked in like it would feel on like a cadence-based e-bike. Now there's 4 levels of pedal assist. You got Eco, Touring, Sport, and Boost. Actually, I'm getting a little out of breath right now, so I'm gonna switch over to throttle. So if at any point you just get tired of pedaling, you can just hit the thumb throttle. And I'm flying up this hill right now in eco mode. I'd say it's probably like a steady 5% grade. Whew. Now the rated torque for the hub motor is 50 Newton meters, which I know a lot of us don't have an intuition for what that means, but I will say it provides a lot of torque. Definitely sufficient for me. You know, I weigh about 155 pounds. The bike, by the way, weighs in at 45 pounds, so it's definitely not a featherweight. And I have not had any issues getting up any steep hills so far. Although, actually, we're about to hit kind of a steep pitch here. I think we hit double digits for maybe 1/8 of a mile or so. So let's see how we do here. I'm gonna drop it down. My lowest gear. The bike ships with a 1x10 system, so the front chainring is 42 teeth, and the biggest cog on the rear cassette is 36, so I'm well above a 1-to-1 gear ratio. But even in eco mode, I'm just cruising up this climb right now. Now let's see what the difference is if I go up to touring mode. I actually don't feel a ton of difference between eco and touring. Sport mode, yeah, there's a little bit of a kick going from touring mode to sport mode, and then boost mode. Oh yeah. So there's a big difference going from sport mode to boost mode. I'm almost topping out of my gear now. It definitely wants me to shift up. And look at that, we're at the top of the hill. All right, this is gonna be a little bit of a challenge. I'm used to carrying like a 20-pound bike over this. Now I'm carrying a 45-pound bike. So it is not light, I'll give you that. But it's also not really claimed to be super light. So how does it do in dirt? Amazingly. Somehow this bike felt really planted and stable, not twitchy at all like I was expecting. And yeah, super fun, I have to say. Definitely a capable gravel commuter, I guess is what we're calling it right now. I really love the thought that they put into this with the clutched drivetrain and the gravel specific tires. This bike is just ready to go off-road. It's amazing. I think it's actually funny too that it comes with a kickstand, which totally points to it being an urban commuter. Normally I would take a kickstand off of a bike, but in this case, you know, why? It also does have some safety features for commuting. The integrated display and head unit will also control the front and rear lights. And the front light is actually not some dinky little afterthought. To turn the lights on, you just hold the up power button. And what's kind of cool is that the display dims a little bit, and the headlight and the little tail light turn on back here. Now this is a small little light on the rear fender, but it's enough to offer some visibility when the light gets low. So the headlight's actually kind of cool. It's kind of got this like projector style to it. And what I mean by that is if you look at like a modern car headlight, the beam pattern is there's a flat top and then the light is all below that line. It's called the cutoff line. It's meant to not blind oncoming traffic. And so this bike actually has that kind of same feature. There's like a distinct cutoff where all the light is below that line, which, you know, in theory, you want to be seen, but you also don't want to be blinding oncoming, you know, commuters or traffic. So really cool feature. And it's just a lot of details like that that I think make this bike stand out a little bit more than some of the other relatively budget e-bikes. I have to say too that the display is definitely the most advanced display that I've seen on an e-bike. Again, OLED display, so, you know, really bright in all lighting conditions, but the menu is actually really, you know, easy and intuitive to navigate. There's one button on the side. You can go trip, odometer, you know, average speed, max speed. You go again, you can see your usage. So I've been spending a substantial amount of time in boost, about half my time in boost mode. And the one thing that's really cool is if you hold the side button, can get into the menu, and this menu is actually very complete and well thought out. And one of the things that's really cool is if you go to ride mode, this is actually a class 1, 2, or 3 e-bike, which means you can set the class of the bike from the menu. Now, of course, I've got it set at class 3 because I want to go the fastest, but if you're in an area where, you know, class 3 e-bikes aren't allowed, in theory you can just set it down to a class 2 or even a class 1, and you basically change the ride characteristics of the bike just through software from the head unit here. Now, class 3 means that it's capable of going up to 28 miles an hour. In practice, on full boost mode, at full thumb throttle, not pedaling at all, the bike won't actually take you to 28 miles an hour. So if you think you're basically going to just get like an e-motorcycle that you can just throttle around town, not really going to be the case. On flat grounds, again, I maxed out at 20 miles per hour, just thumb throttle only on full boost mode. I think what the class 3 is referring to is that that's how fast you can go while the pedal assist still helps. As far as things that I'm not super fond of, not too many things. The pedals are definitely inadequate. They're basically just flat pedals with like a bit of skateboard grip tape on them. Totally fine for urban commuting, but when you build a bike with a clutched, you know, 1x drivetrain and gravel specific tires, they should expect that the rider is going to probably take this off-road at some point, in which case you're definitely going to want some grippier pedals. Another thing is that the handlebars, these are 680 millimeters wide. I just wish they were a little bit wider. Now I realize, again, for urban commuting, you don't need that width, and often you actually want a narrower bar so that you can navigate tighter spaces. But again, this is kind of a bike that blurs some boundaries. So if you are going to take this off-road, having a slightly wider bar, you know, even 720 millimeters would make a huge difference in the way that the bike feels off-road. I think the build quality overall is really good. The box came packaged up really well. Not a ton of complaints there. The bike was really easy to set up. All you had to do was install the front wheel and handlebars, and that was basically it. I will say that the front wheel is actually slightly bent. There's a pretty noticeable wobble in the front wheel. The rear wheel is fine. This stem, they're kind of trying to make it look nice and integrated with this sort of sleek, sort of almost looks like a one-piece like bar stem combo. For me personally, I'd rather just see like a standard steer with a regular stem. Someone new to working on bikes, if they go online and they, you know, search how do you adjust your headset, they'll get a video that doesn't match what this bike has. So it's very specific. The concept is largely the same for this stem, but you know, it makes working on your bike at home just a little bit trickier. Now, one of the things I really appreciate about this bike is that they use a chain drive system. The Shimano Dior 1x10 system here makes it a lot more capable, especially paired with the torque sensor for the power. I'll also say that maintenance is way easier with the chain drive system. With the belt drive, the frame actually has to be modified so that there's a cutout so the belt can slip through either the chain stay or the seat stay. On the chain drive system, the only difference, of course, is that this is a bolt-on rear axle because it's a hub drive. But other than that, changing a flat on the rear is just as simple as on any other bike. Now, one of the criticisms of any e-bike, you know, whether it's commuting or e-mountain bike or e-gravel bike, is can you still get a workout? And I'm about to put that to the test because we got a pretty hefty climb here. I'm gonna start with it in no power assist. Obviously, I'm going to need some help with this. So right now I'm pedaling a 45-pound bike with no pedal assist, and my gear ratio is 42 tooth chainring and a 36 tooth biggest cog on the cassette. And yes, this is a substantial workout. I'm gonna burn out really quickly here. So you might then ask, okay, well, what if you put it in eco mode? That's obviously giving me a little bit of help here. So this is easily 8%, 10% grade right here, I'd say. Maybe 8, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. And even in eco mode, I hear the motor whirring, and I know I'm getting some help, but I'm still pushing hard on the pedals. So if there were ever any question of whether you still get a workout if you ride an e-bike, yes, you definitely get a workout when riding an e-bike like this. It's just a matter of how you use the bike. Now, the other concern of e-bikes, of course, is range, right? There's a thing called range anxiety. The stated battery life for this bike is 20 to 40 miles, and it's a factor of 2 range. So realistically, what are we getting? Well, I started this ride with a full battery, and I've been riding with a mix of mostly eco and boost. So I'd say I'm basically at a 50-50 split. And so far I've gone 9 miles and my battery is at 56%. So I'm actually on track to deplete this battery in roughly 20 miles. I'm convinced that if you only used eco mode, you could definitely stretch this out to 40 miles on a flat road if you're using pedal assist and not just using throttle the whole time. So I would say that the battery life is probably pretty accurate. I'll definitely update you at the end of this ride when I've got the full stats, but it does look like you can probably actually get between 20 and 40 miles on a charge. But this little section of road is pretty fun. Make for some good B-roll. You know what? There's actually a little road climb here. I got plenty of battery left. I might as well see how far we can take it. Alright. All right, so we just really tested the power there. I went up this, it was about a maybe 2.5 mile climb, basically in boost the entire time. In those 3 miles, I managed to deplete the battery down to 8% now. So actually that range anxiety is starting to set in. And I think I still have about a 6-mile ride home. It's basically all flat or downhill from here, so I think I should be able to make it. Ooh, 7%. I'm just sitting here and the battery level keeps dipping, so that's scaring me a little bit. Let me get to the bottom of this hill and let's see where we're at. I'm at 3%. Battery indicator is blinking. I'm at 17 miles, probably 2 miles to go. I'm still in boost, just to see what happens, but actually as soon as I hit below 5%, the power was definitely throttled back. You know, I'd be pedaling and normally I'd get like a big boost of speed. Didn't get that. So there's definitely some like logic built in that kind of reduces the power output when your battery level gets really low. But yeah, I'm pushing real hard. I'm not getting much from the motors at this point. All right, so I'm just about home. I'm within a half a mile from my house. I think I'm gonna call it here. 19 miles, and the battery life just went down to 1%. So yeah, I will say that the 20 to 40 mile range is pretty accurate. I mean, I rode this bike really hard, probably did about 1,500 feet of elevation today, over 19.6 miles. I spent 67% of the time in boost mode, 25% in eco mode, and then 8% elsewhere. And while I was in boost mode, I was using a mix of throttle and, you know, pedaling. So definitely pushing the bike to, you know, to its limit, and got 20 miles out of it. So I am actually pretty pleased with that. Who is this bike for? That's a good question. It's kind of this weird mix between urban commuter and gravel bike, like flat bar e-gravel bike. And it does well in both scenarios. So if you're the type of person who wants a bike just to get around town, maybe you're a little bit gravel curious, this could be a good fit. Again, I think it's going for about $1,200 US right now. That's pretty good value considering what else is on the market at that same price point. Again, the standout features of this bike would be the nice OLED display, the torque-based power delivery, and the chain drive. That's actually something that I really appreciate on this bike. So I think that's gonna do it for this one. If you have any questions on my experience with the Roadster V3 at this point, just drop them down in the comments. I'll try and get back to as many as I can. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, I'll see you next time.